40 years, just retired. And you know, I'm not intimidated by a lot, but this is an intimidating environment with all of these police officers surrounding us. This is not the kind of context at a public meeting where dialogue is going to take place. Should happen. And I've been here several times, and I haven't found it a very comfortable environment. But I'm going to try to say what I would like to say today. First, I want to start with Matt Johnson. You talked about two things this morning, hit a chord with me: respect and trust. Those are wonderful words. Talk is cheap. The people in this room, the people who are outside, the people who marched on Sunday, and I want to talk about that a little bit too, they want action. Respect is not just something you say to people. Respect is how you treat them. Trust is built through actions, not just through words. You have lost the respect and the trust of this community. And it's not just Black people. It's all of us. And more people would be here today if they didn't have to be at their jobs and earn a living for their families. We're asking, and we have come here repeatedly, to ask you to act. I just want to use my last second to say the best thing the police did Sunday, they stayed away.
Good morning.
Morning.
I appreciated Matt Johnson this morning saying how hopeful he was. And I'm hopeful too that the commission will do the right thing. Alton Sterling, Yolanda Castillo, Redel Jones, Giselle Ford, Charlie Africa, Lakeisha Wilson, Keith Bursey, Brendan Glenn. There's a centuries-old epidemic of racial profiling in this country, and Los Angeles is no exception. These people were not isolated instances. None of them would be dead, and I guarantee it, if they were white. And this breaks my heart, but my heart is still beating. There's so many things that I can ask for you to do, and I'll just mention a couple of them. The new Jim Crow should be required reading for every police officer, member of the force. Should be required reading at the academy. Meetings should be held in the community where people can attend. It's also heartbreaking this morning that the overflow room is being utilized when there were hundreds of people outside wanting to come, thousands of people, and that too many seats were occupied by police. There are still people waiting outside to come in.
And I put in my public comment and they rejected it.
Who kill people in the city are held accountable. James Porter, Melina Abdullah, Marcus Vaughn, and Jasmine Abdullah.
Shit, I see.
Good evening. My name is James Porter. I'm a member of LA Camp. 3 years ago, I stood here and said, if you keep on killing Black men, they will start shooting away. You didn't hear me. I hope you hear me now. Black Lives Matter in the meantime came here and voiced their opinion. You said it was law, disrupting meetings. But the main thing that you missed was that they was in pain. They was hurt. If they was in pain, the public was in pain. So that's what you said to me in the first place. Now, it started. This is the beginning of what's about to come. There are about to be more shootings. If you don't find a solution right now, The only solution that's available is that you got to hold the police accountable for murder.
Yeah.
Don't justify it. Don't cover it up. Because if you keep on doing the same mistake, it's going to get out of control. I'm warning you now, like I did before. Do you hear me now? I hope so.
So I want to be really measured in what I'm going to say, because I think it's really important that you listen. And I don't know how to get through to you, Matt Johnson, especially so that you hear. We started off trying to have a dialogue when you first came on the commission, and you refused that. Then you got louder, you refused that. And so I'm going to go back to trying to be measured. And you can chuckle if you want. But the truth is, one, I think you have a problem with the women, especially black women, because you constantly try and call meetings with the brothers and you don't want to listen to the sisters. But we have voices. You were birthed from a black woman, I believe, and so hopefully you'll have a little bit more respect. What I want to lift up is that we have families here, and it's really problematic that those families and elders are being mistreated under your watch. You need to really think about what legacy you want to leave for your children. Do you want to be on the wrong side of history, or do you want to say, I've been one who helped to usher in justice? So contriving these meetings, having these meetings with people like Snoop in the game, which I think is hugely problematic, speaks to where you stand, but you can correct that. There are thousands of people outside. We had upwards of 5,000, by some estimates, 10,000 folks who showed up for a meeting on Sunday. So it's not just the few of us who show up here every week. We're the few who can get out of our jobs for a little bit, right? But we speak for thousands of people, and we hope that you will listen. The family of Keith Bursey was stuck outside. I hope that you will allow them to speak during public comment, because they've just been seated, and I know item 4 is open, so I hope that you will do that and be respectful to those who are in mourning and who really need to have their voices heard. We do want dialogue. We want you to engage us as a collective and as a community, which is our way as African people, and you are an African person, whether you acknowledge it or not. Thank you.
That's right.
Good morning. I am Marcus Vaughn. I'm the husband of Redel Jones. And I came here today just to inform you on the woman that you all murdered. Redel Jones was one of the best people that I knew. When we met, I was very irresponsible. I was naive and inexperienced, and she taught me everything that I know now. I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for her. She was my first everything, my first wife, my first partner in life, and you all stole her from me. Redel was always the one who found a way so that we would make a way for each other. We lived in homeless shelters together. We lived in hotels together. And somehow we always found an apartment because of her intelligence and because of her knowing how to do things right when I didn't know because I was too inexperienced. Shortly before she was murdered, she was on her way to completing school for holistic health care, which honestly she didn't really need school because she was already very, very intelligent. She learned how to build websites, utilize and build computer coding, and fix computer viruses all on her own through self-training. And that's the type of woman that you all stole from me and her and our children. I say all these things because it's important that she be remembered as the woman she was. She was kind, she was gentle, she always thought of others more than herself, which is why her kids, our children, cry every night because of your actions and your inactions. I say all these things because it's important that she be remembered as the woman she was and not as the woman you all have painted out in the press for her. It's important that she be remembered as a beautiful black woman who did not deserve the murder that she was given by police, by you all covering it up. She did not deserve to be sitting in a cold morgue for 2 weeks before any of us even knew that she was dead. That's on you. Her blood is on all of you. My children's tears are on all of you. So I hope to God that you had many sleepless nights over what you did to my wife. I hope that you can never look your children in the eye for what you did to my wife. I hope that you can never look them in the eye and tell them what you do every day, because you don't have an honest job. You are all corrupt. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anthony Rockwell, Audrey George, Claudine McCrum, and Alan Thomas. Anthony Rockwell. Second, Audrey George. Hello, I am Audrey George. I am going to, it's okay with you that Chief Fred left because I really wanted to address my comments to the Board of Police Commissioners. You, I understand, are charged with oversight of the LAPD. You are charged with oversight of a police department where the systems of law enforcement, the judicial, the judiciary, and mass incarceration are essentially establishing a new Jim Crow. You are in charge of a police department that shows obvious and well-known patterns of racialized policing. This police department you have oversight over has the highest rate of police killings in this country and the use of deadly force, including those who are represented here by families such as Redel Jones and Keith Murphy and Keisha Wilson. As one of my friends had mentioned, The New Jim Crow is a book that you all should read, and if you've read it, you should read it again. The New Jim Crow could have been written last year or this year. It's so relevant. It talks about the militarization of our police forces, the increased funding for our police forces over other resources that could use. It talks about the bogus war on drugs and how it was created to oppress black people. It talks about the collusion between police and prosecutors. And it talks about the whittling away of Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful search and seizure. All of these are policies, practices that you are charged to oversee in the LAPD. Thank you. Please do your jobs.
All right. My name is Kwasi Nkrumah. I'm the co-chair of the Martin Luther King Coalition of Greater Los Angeles. I'm also a member of Black Lives Matter, and I'm a supporter of Black Lives Matter. The First Lady in Yellow really kind of summed up what I wanted to say, which is that, it's fine to talk, but talk is cheap. And talk about dialogue doesn't mean much. I mean, that kind of discussion is often used as a manipulation to avoid resolving problems. The families of the police officers down in Texas are experiencing the same thing that the families of the victims of police violence and trigger happiness have been experiencing. And it's a terrible thing for anyone's family to be subjected to a family member being taken from them violently, whoever they are. However, you all are in a responsible position. You could be doing something to stop all this, and you have so far, from what I've seen, I don't come down here all the time, but every time I come down here, I've seen a great disregard toward resolving these problems seriously. If the LAPD police were shooting each other at the level that they're shooting the community up, their families would be all over you about why you haven't been doing something to clean up that situation so that their family members are safe. If you give a damn about these police who work for you, deal with the problem and stop the rhetoric. Give a damn about the people in this community who are depending on you to exercise some authority over the police department, which is supposed to protect and serve. But everything I see on the walls around here is just lip service.
Alan Thomas, followed by Eddie H., Hamid Khan, Mary Williams, and Lisa Hunt.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm a community organizer. I work with youth throughout South Los Angeles. And one day I was at home. I got a call from one of my youth. and they were screaming hysterically, and they happened to witness the murder of Redel Jones. These kids, these youth, are traumatized. As an adult, I really don't know what to say to them because I'm just as traumatized and scared as they are. I have students that lived in the J's where Redel was murdered, watched her body lay there for hours before anyone came on the hot concrete on the hot summer LA day. What am I supposed to say to my youth? You know, Chief Beck was here, I guess he left. He talked about we need to get to the solution of the problem. I think one thing that we can do, the police can do, is actually stop dehumanizing folks. Stop dehumanizing black people in particular.
Right.
Because that woman was left on the concrete like a dog. And it's directly linked to the chattel slavery that we experienced as enslaved Africans hundreds of years ago.
Yep.
It's just different now. What am I supposed to tell my youth? Have compassion. I've been here for hours. One of the first things you did was call out the names of those folks, those officers that were shot in Dallas. Unfortunately, yes it is. Why don't you have that same compassion for every person y'all murdered in Los Angeles? What makes their lives more valuable? I'm asking questions. I'm not making demands. I want clarity. We need clarity. Our folks were traumatized. This is the last thing I'll say. As a grown man, every day I wake up in fear because I know this might be my last day. And that's probably everybody in the world. We don't know when we're going to die, but my situation as a black man is systemic. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Williams, and I'm the grandmother of Keith Bursey. I'm so sorry that Chief Beck had to leave because I watched his conference on June 14th when he said Keith Bursey was a gang member. He said Keith Bursey was a suspect. I raised Keith Bursey because Keith Bursey's mother had an aneurysm when he was a kid. Keith was not raised as a gang member. If he's a gang member now, that he's a human being that the police rode up on. I saw the video. Rode up on, locked them in, got out. And when he got out of the car, because he had been shot on April 27th, and when he got out, he went to run. They said he was armed. You know, all I'm asking, we have no police report. We don't know the officer. We don't have the surveillance. We don't know, we don't have an official autopsy report. Is that right?
No.
That's not right. No. But he can say he's a gang member. You know, he's a human being. He's my grandson who has been murdered by an officer that I don't even know who he is. We don't even know his name. I volunteered for 5 years with Crash in 1973 when they didn't have a place to meet up at a Methodist church. I got great respect and I gave great respect to the police officers. I have a brother that worked for LAPD for 35 years. And I always respected them. And this is what I get. This is the thanks I get. I want answers. I want accountability. I want justice for my grandson. And I did say he will not, his death won't be in vain. Thank you.
Eddie H., Los Angeles Community Action Network, LA CAN. You should know the strength and the weaknesses of the adversary by their level of engagement. We've been coming week after week, month after month, year after year, and the level of engagement has not increased. As a matter of fact, it's decreased. So when you hear the righteous indignation of everyone here today, it has been fermented, it has been cultivated by you. We come in vain of the things that are happening in our community that continue to happen. And we stand in solidarity with the families of those individuals who have been murdered in cold blood. We stand in solidarity with letting you know that we are with you and you're not alone. But we will carry you if you need to be carried. We will lift you up if you might be down. We will be there to carry you. To do that time. As my dear sister Marlene Abdullah stated, your very first day on the job was a very bad day because you came to us very unprepared. You came to us painting a picture of a very pristine police department, as if it was the best police department in the world. But those of us in the community that know the truth, we know that there was a very murderous, another one murderous police department in the world. We understand that you are a puppet, my dear brother. You've been used, we continue to be used. But the sad fact of the matter is, once they use you, they're going to discard you like a piece of trash. So you should stand up and say to this body that I'm different, to this body that I hear you, to this body that I will address your concern. Other than that, we're going to continue to come back. This meeting you guys had on Friday, Black Lives Matter, LA Camp. We've been trying to have a meeting with you for maybe a year now.